Right, I thought I would do a whole walk around the garden and just show you what's been going on. We've been gardening, or I've been putting a garden in now for, I think it's about 10 months that this garden has been in. So there is still work in progress, and I just want to go through some of the things that have worked and some that have not been as successful. So we're going to start at this side and work right round the whole garden, looking at our homesteading and becoming self-sufficient. So here we've got a lemon tree and a orange tree. These are dwarf trees and they have really struggled. So this is the orange tree. I think she's maybe got thinking about doing some oranges, a few more kind of things coming up, but and this lemon tree had virtually no leaves, so I think it's starting to recover. And yeah, there's the nibbles, good old nibbles. We seem to have a bit of an ongoing war with things that nibble. So I think they've finally started to settle themselves down. My lawn that needs mowing, I'm not going to have any apologies. We've had so much rain recently that it's been just about impossible to get out and finish off the lawn. So we've got a bit of a hay paddock at various places. So this, originally this area was about 5 red robin trees that had gone really out of whack, and we'd pulled a few out some years back, and then we took the last 2 out of this area. You see the cat in there? She doesn't realise that she's not supposed to walk through everything. So I planted some yams, and apparently these take about 10 months to mature. So after the first frost in June, if we get one in June, we don't often get them in June, I should be able to dig up the yams. So I'm just waiting to see. They said put them in a bed where you are not bothered about the space because they take a long time to grow. I've actually also put a hydrangea, and look at that, it's growing finally. That plant has taken, I bought that, it was about that big when I bought it at the beginning of winter, and the other one completely lost it, but this one has finally started to grow. And because the yams take forever, I'll just pull these weeds out while we're here, I have popped some corn in. These were ones that got planted like super late and they're not doing terribly well, but we'll just let them have their space and we'll see what happens. So that's the yam area, and as you can see, this is the sweet corn area, which again it all went in later. It's looking pretty good now. It's probably about 4 foot tall, some of them, and they're starting to get their silks. In between, at the side of every sweet corn, I planted a pea, tall peas. We haven't had a huge amount of success with peas. As you can see, there's some sweet corns that didn't quite make it. I'm not sure why the cat wants to be super friendly. She wants to be on the video. This is Deborah. So we'll see what happens. If we don't actually eat a lot of sweet corn, and we definitely don't eat a lot of yams, but that's because they're expensive at the supermarket, so I never buy them. I like them, but it's something that not everybody in the family's terribly happy with. So this is the new thing. I'm not sure what these are on the sweet corn. As I say, this is the first time for growing everything. I have never, apart from the odd flower which generally died on me, I haven't grown anything before. So this whole gardening thing is completely new, and I'm 10 months into it. I've gone a bit over the top, but never mind. So we have a few. This area is supposed to be a path to get to the gas things, but as you can see, it's not doing terribly well. Just quite a lot of work. I'm not going to hide the fact that we've got a lot of work going on, and we've got a few tomatoes that I need to find them a space to put them in, give them a chance. Again, we're getting a bit late, and just move that. I think something there that didn't make it was lettuce. And these, my leeks, look, have recovered. They just about died because I didn't water them very well, so I'm going to put them in somewhere. Here we've got kumara. This is yellow kumara, and it's as you can see, it's got a lot of the nibbles going on. So I love yellow kumara, so we'll see what happens with that. It's starting to get kind of encroachy, but that's okay, it can do its thing. And here I've got, what kind is it? Honeydew melon, I think these are. And there is a little bit of I thought I had a little honeydew thing forming, but I can't find it at the moment. But there's lots of little flowers on. And this one, oh, there we go, there's one down there. Can you see him? So this wasn't doing very well, and I moved it over here, and it's done really well here. And then we've got a loofah growing. It's got soil all over it. But that's a loofah, and I'm trying to train it up here. So it's not going to have enough space for that tiny little thing, but it's okay at the moment. And this is the overflow tomato patch. I've still got to go through these and just tie them onto their stakes. And they're all settling now into, because we probably got about 3, maybe 4 cubic meters of soil stroke compost that went down here. Deborah wants to be in the video again. So I'm going to have, we're a bit late for these, but we'll see how they go because we've had such a funny summer. We had a bit of transplant shock, I think that's what that was, but they've started to come through again with some new leaves. So we'll see how these guys go. That looks like it might be starting to send out some flowers. There's a bit of a mixture here, money makers. I think there's a few Roma and big beefs. And I planted some, what's that? Radishes. These 3 here are really, that one is, some of them died, so I can't remember what these are. I think it's, I don't know what it is, can't remember. I did plant some silver beets and radishes just to feed the chooks with. So we'll see what comes up there. Turnips, there's a turnip somewhere. So this pile of soil is waiting for me to spread it out, although there's a bit too much for this space. But that kind of, I haven't got anything to put in that at the moment. So this is the newest bed, and as you see, we haven't got the boards to make the side of the bed are getting buried in the grass. Some of these jobs take a while to do. You can't do everything all at once, despite me wanting to. So over here we've got the laying hens space. So Grant built this chicken coop for them, and these guys are supposed to stay in their paddock, but they jump out, as you can see. So they've got this outside area. They've eaten their beetroot greens, and these black ones, not this one closest, but those other black ones are all and that kind of speckly brown one are all last year's clutch that one of the hens raised. That hen, that's the mother there. And the highliners are just finishing off a molt. That's these brown ones. So everybody's looking a bit ugly. You can see she's pulled feathers out. So we've had a bit of a slowdown in egg production. And yeah, so we'll see how the girls go on. And then over there we've got our list of our alpacas. We've got 17 girls and 3 boys. Actually, there's 2 boys in that group. So we've got 15 girls and 5 boys. And in here is, I don't know if you can see that hen in there. There's a hen sitting, it's going not into focus. There's a hen sitting in this box, and she's been, there's a couple of them actually. She's not laying an egg. She's got no desire to lay an egg. She just thinks she should sit on eggs. But we haven't got any rooster at the moment, so no eggs are fertilised. And this girl now is a bit panicky because she's in the wrong side of the fence. So I think we'll start to go into the back of the yard. So as you can see, there's lots of jobs to do. This is where we process the chickens 2 Saturdays back, and we've got these guys to process, and we run out of freezer space, so they got to stay extra bit. Oh, need some water. They've just had breakfast, so they're a little quiet. So we moved them from their other cage because of the rain, and we might move them back. Don't know, we'll see. So in here, this used to be the old doghouse, and I had lettuces growing in here, and it was doing pretty well, but then they all got away with us because we had too much lettuce that we couldn't eat enough. And this was quite hard to keep this soil moist, because it used to dry out really quickly. So I'm not quite sure that was a total success. So this has turned into a bit of a storeroom, and we had some plants growing in here that obviously, as you can see, they didn't make it. So we've got a bit of tidying up to do here with the weeds and everything. This is the killing cone for killing the chicks. So they go in here, the heads out here, and then the heads get dispatched and fall into a bucket. So we've got a lovely patch of stinging nettles. I'm sure you can do things with those, but these guys need moving because you can see they've chomped all their grass down. And we've got these water collection things, which I think are just helping to collect slugs at the moment. So they've basically just filled up. So we've got quite a few sluggies in there. So there's a bit of water that needs a clean out there. The idea was to make that collect off the roof of these sheds and collect water. This is the rhubarb patch. Everything is just so overgrown. We've got some comfrey in there, but I've kind of left all the daisies because I can't get into this very easily to clean, to weed it, and we've got some rhubarb growing. There's lots of slugs and stuff. Snails live in here, and there's another water tank here which also has its fair share of slugs and snails. This is raspberry, which was doing super well, and I had some fruits come in, and then an alpaca leaned over the fence and chomped it all off. So again, that's another kind of trial thing. These are some raspberries, what we got here. Thornless jewel, so it's kind of like a cross between a blackberry and raspberry. It's not overly happy. It did give me some fruit. And then I've got this blackberry plant here, which is doing a bit better. And it's got some fruit coming, but they're that colour when they're ready. So we've got a bit of wait to come. So strawberries, these worked really well in these containers here. So we had a plant on each side and one in the top, and then all these runner plants came out. But we've finished. They're finished now, so I'm not quite sure what to do because. Oh, no, not quite finished. We've got a few strawberries coming there. I'll pick those. And this one. So I'm not quite sure what to do. Now, this mess here, tomato alley, we've got one plant in here that's not looking terribly happy. Probably needs to trim it down and give some fertiliser. So everything went a little bit haywire in here. We've just had some bad weather through, and they've all fallen over a bit. So I've got to go through and tie them up again. But I bought some plants that didn't really have labels on. There were like 4 in a pot, and you didn't really know what they were. We've got a nice red one in there, and I didn't know whether they were determinate tomatoes or indeterminate tomatoes. So this was supposed to be my bed for the indeterminate tomatoes that grow to about 1 metre tall, put their fruit on, and then they're finished, which there is one in there that is hiding, struggling. So I've got a bit of work to sort these guys out, and yeah, we keep picking a few tomatoes. So there's absolutely heaps in there that are all at the green stage, so I think we're going to have a massive harvest in there. Now the baths have worked relatively successfully. I had carrots in here and onions, which did pretty well, but I'm getting all over the garden. I'm getting these toadstooly mushroom things coming through, so I've got to figure out what that's all about. And we've got some red cabbage growing in here. I was listening to a YouTube video of an English guy, and he was talking about packing them in a bit more than what they say for these kind of things, and I think I went a bit the other way, packed them in too much. And so what's happened is this guy has got something on it, which it's had dictomatous earth on it, so I might actually pull that whole plant out because yeah, it's not doing that well. What's happened is they've tended to just drop their bottom leaves and the plants have gone up, so I'm not sure that that's working that well, and I think I just overcrowded things a little bit. So we've had the peas off, that one needs to come out. A few tomato hanger-ons that never got a space, they're probably going to be dying. And so you can see with the broccoli what's happened. They've gone to seed quite quickly. So again, I need to sort of attend to this bed and pull some things out and put some more soil in. I've grew this one I spread out a little bit more, so this is going to be happy, but you can see this kind of browning off of the leaves happened. I've got some flowers in there, so again we'll see. And this was a slug-free zone for a while. Oh, look at that caterpillar. We've had the white moth caterpillars are here now, so that's the next challenge for these brassicas, is the caterpillars. Look at them. So we have to go and check for caterpillars because they're eating. You can see they nibbled on that leaf quite a bit, and we've got a collie coming there, but it's going to get nibbled. So cabbage whites is going to be a bane. So I put some beans over here. They tend to doing all right, but again a bit crowded. It's been a lesson to learn. We're going to get a little bit of harvest. We've got some broccoli coming. So I think combination, and that's a nice looking cabbage, so we can probably get him out, harvest him. And then I chopped these. Had quite a few plants growing in tubs, and some are happy in tubs and some are not. I just chopped that plant down, we harvested it, and it started itself again. So we'll see what happens there. So I've got to go through and see. We've got caterpillars munching on this guy as well. So yeah, we got to the season of it's now caterpillar, white moth caterpillar that are laying on things. And yep. So it's been so rainy, I haven't been inspecting out in my garden for some time, so a few things that they've chosen to eat in there. Now these are, again, I think they're probably ready to harvest because they're not overly happy in these containers. And these were like the hospital ones that were getting, like that guy's been like that for months. We'll see how he goes on. And my sprouts, I've got, oh, they're a bit bigger. I've got I don't know what's going on with this, but he's giving me some sprouts and they're really tasty, so we'll just leave him to do his thing. This one I think might be a bit history, but these tiny little sprouts are really tasty if you can be bothered to do what you have to do with them. But they've not been super successful. I tried them in containers because I got slugged so much with the last lot I tried on the ground. And look at that, I cut him down and he's growing another cabbage. Good on him. So we've got, I think it's a question of finding out which plants like to live in containers and which don't. And I don't think the sprouts do. Like, oh, we've got a ladybug. You eat all those aphids up, this is a ladybug. And some of the things I just leave as sacrificials for the insect-like life. Go away. Now, in this tall bit of grass here, we've got, I can't remember the raspberries or what they were, but I've left them there. They were supposed to get moved, but they never did, and done the job that didn't happen. That one doesn't look overly healthy. And they got eaten by the alpacas a few times, but hiding underneath all that stuff there has not been too bad. So I might stop this video and start again because we're already at 18 minutes.